look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But you know that
To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couples say that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is indeed?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a report from President Trump?
What's your reaction to those videos, Mr.
President Trump.
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous look. This is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So there's some more to that clip, by the way. We're going to go over that clip because that was a fascinating interaction, y'all. I watched it live as it was going down, and holy crap, Donald Trump, it was another ambush, if you will. Brought this guy in. Look, this is what's going on in your country. Our corporate press, and apparently your corporate press, refused to cover it for some reason, right? We've been talking about this for a while. Now, the claims of genocide may be a little bit embellished slightly, right? It may not rise to the level of genocide. I'm willing to admit that. However, if it's getting close to that level, hang on just a second. That's a major problem, folks. That is a major problem. And the corporate press, they're trying to deny it. As we covered yesterday, they're trying to phrase their way around reality, and they're trying to get out from underneath this by saying, well, hang on, you say it's a genocide, but if you look at our crime statistics and data show that, well, the majority of crime is committed against black people. Well, you know what? The vast majority of your population is black, for goodness sakes, right? I think 7% of their population is white. So, of course, the vast majority, right? But it's not that. It's the actual attacks. It's the political persecution. It's the videos. These people just brazen with their kill the boa, blah, 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 blah. Brah, pop, 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 pop. You've seen the videos. Matter of fact.
Alliance. Shoot to kill. Gamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa. Brr, pa, pa. Attention.
Yes, that right there. That's a political party, the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters of South Africa, for goodness sakes. These people going around talking about reparations for, apartheid or whatever, which is nasty, by the way, and directly leads to what we're seeing right now. However, we know that, tit for tat when it comes to violence and discrimination and racism is not the way to fix racism, folks. That is absolutely not the way to fix racism. Not in this country and not in any country. Violence only begets more violence, for goodness sakes. And somebody, once again, has to be the bigger person here. They need to come out and say, look, this has got to come to a stop. But I don't understand the corporate press trying to deny this. Well, this isn't going on at all. Hang on just a second. There's report after report after report. As Donald Trump just said, look, these are all farmers that are being murdered, brutally murdered, right? Mercilessly beaten. There's many, many, many more that are just mercilessly beaten every single day over there. And it's a bad situation. It's a really bad situation. And what I find fascinating about this is, well, let's see it for ourselves. Check this out.
And you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Well,
and
let me
it was
clarify
terrible.
that.
Yeah,
Let me
please.
clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and then
take
when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
Okay, now this is where Trump might be a little bit wrong here because, yeah, they made laws, right? He's right about that. They made expropriation laws where they can just, for no reason and without compensation, just take the land from that farmer or whatever, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that that farmer is going to be killed. Right? But it doesn't mean he's not going to be killed, for goodness sakes. And I love the argument where they're allowed to exist. I'm sorry. That political party, those videos, that would not be allowed in the United States, for goodness sakes. Right? We had, just as we talked about in the last video, as a matter of fact, Secret Service is now investigating James Comey for just so happening to stumble upon somebody. It was probably him, but somebody put 8647, and we know what 86 something means. It means to get rid of it, right? And 47 is obviously in reference to Donald Trump. So just that statement right there, because that could be misconstrued as a call to action. Secret Service is now investigating James Comey for that. If you had people going around saying, kill the boa, blah, 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 that's a call to violence, for goodness sakes. That goes well beyond speech. And this is something I talk about all the time, right? Like freedom of speech. You hear these people, and I get the argument. I'm a free speech absolutist, but you're not, are you? You're really not, because if you ask them, well, do you think calls to violence is okay? Well, they're like, well, no, that's not speech. Well, then you're not. It actually is speech, right? Literally speech. So you're not a free speech absolutist. It's like, it's when do our principles run into that wall of morality? That's where we lie in this country. And we don't allow for calls to violence, which is exactly what that sounds like, right? I'm not a South Africaner, for goodness sakes. I'm not from there. But I can tell you, for being in politics and looking at everything that's going on, seeing the situation here in the United States, and looking at that to me looks like a call to violence. You couple that with the crime data that is coming out of South Africa, and it paints a very, very bad picture. What I love about that is like, well, they're allowed to exist. Their Supreme Court actually said that they could sing a song that's kill the boa, but they're doing a lot more than just singing a song talking about kill the boa. They're actually talking about kill the farmer, blah, 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 right? That's not speech. That's crossing a line right there, right? And he says they're allowed to exist. Hang on just a second. So what he is basically conveying right there in that message, they're allowed to exist, is okay. So why don't you, if they have nothing to do with your government policy, well, hang on just a second. Didn't you sign into law that expropriation law, for one? And for two, how about you do something? You have an entire government, right? Now you're getting criticized for the crime in your country. You are the top of that government. You are in control of the law enforcement apparatus in that nation. Do something about it, my guy. Like, they are in control of crime. I know there's always going to be crime, but look, you take El Salvador, for instance. Look what Bukele did in El Salvador. A lot of people say, oh, well, it's inhumane. Yeah, but the people are safe. So, what are you talking about? You go after the criminals. You go after people doing bad things. That's how you make your community safe. And that's how you don't get criticized by the entire world for what is tantamount to a genocide, what is rising to that level. It's fascinating. There's a little bit more to that clip. Let's keep going.
No, there is quite...
Nothing happens to
There
them.
is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The
been
farmers are
utilized...
black. The farmers are not black.
We
I don't
now-
say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake, like NBC, which is fake news, totally, one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay? The United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out, because we need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One, it's being built. 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I'd take it. I would take it.
And guess what the headline from all the corporate press is? Yep. Trump claims genocide, and the Ramaphosa or whatever says, I don't have a plane to give you. What is fascinating about that, folks, is when I was going through my news aggregator, if you will, that article was right there. And look, you can see the title right there. That's a fair title, as a matter of fact. You know, Trump criticizes Ramaphosa or whatever it says. I don't remember right off the top of my head, and I don't have it in front of me. But the very next article, the very next news article, look, yeah, talking about the plane. Yeah, they accepted the plane. Of course they did, because it's all on the up and up. They looked over the legality. They looked over the emoluments clause. Hey, it's not a gift from the Emir of Qatar. It's a gift from their Ministry of Defense to our Department of Defense. But you ask the corporate press, oh, this is just corruption is all this is. He's taking a bribe, folks. And like I said, when this first happened, it doesn't look good. I ain't gonna lie about that, because it gives the left an angle to swoop in and yell and scream corruption all day long. Oh my goodness, he's taking bribes over here. And that doesn't look good on the Trump administration. But when you bear all the facts out, for goodness sakes, yeah, the facts don't line up with their narrative. And that's the corporate press incarnate, folks. They take facts and they twist and turn them around and present you with a pretty much fake news on a constant basis, folks. But, you know, I love that he can laugh about that, but it's a very, very serious situation that's going on over there. And I really hope that this guy takes it seriously, takes that lashing, if you will, goes back home, and then lashes his law enforcement, for goodness sakes, and gets them to do something. I wish the world was at peace. I really wish. Like, I know it's possible, right? I know, we all know that it's possible. There's always going to be crime. I'm not so naive to think that we can eliminate crime just immediately, right? If I do believe we could get there one day, if we all had free energy and nobody really had to struggle really hard. In other words, people could just go to work, do their thing, and everybody was taken care of, blah, blah, blah. It's a dream world. You know, it's not some communist utopia, for goodness sakes. That's never going to work, because property rights are foundational to free civilizations, for goodness sakes. But, you know, I think we can get there one day, but energy has to be almost free. Right? Your housing has to be cheap. Your daily needs have to be cheap. Everything has to be cheap. We'll get there one day, but right now, there are these really, really horrific issues going on all around the world. We have crime in our country, for goodness sakes. But Donald Trump is trying to do something about that. And what is the left? What is the opposition to actually trying to fight crime and bring those crime statistics down, for goodness sakes? Oh, well, you're treating the criminals inhumanely. The left, they're constantly taking up for these criminals. And I just don't get that, folks. I really don't. Never have, never will. Right? They're yelling and screaming about all these deportations, and they have these activist judges getting on the side of these criminals saying, you can't deport these people. In some cases, violent criminals. Can't deport them. Not without notice. Oh, they need to have their rights respected. As far as a notice that they're getting deported. That's the hang-ups, right? It's not that they can't be deported or anything like that. It's just the manner that they are being deported. I don't think that really matters. These people are not of this country. They broke our laws to come into this country, then came into this country and started committing crimes. Why should we show them any mercy? Do you think they deserve those due process rights? They absolutely don't. They didn't care about the process by which they could enter this country and become a citizen. And what does the corporate press do? Say, oh, Trump's deporting immigrants. Let me give you a key fact to take to anybody and everybody in an argument. Donald Trump has deported 0 immigrants. Yep. Donald Trump has not deported a single immigrant in this term. I don't know about the last one, folks. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention that close to politics back then. But I can tell you this term. He has not deported a single immigrant. Not one. And you might be thinking, well, hang on. He's got a mass deportation operation going on. Yeah, all the deportations are criminal aliens, or they are temporary visa holders that came here to go to school. That's not immigrants, folks. That's criminal aliens, and then college students, for goodness sakes. Now, the college student thing, I totally get that. They most certainly have the right to revoke any of those visas or whatever that is, you know, student visas. Have the right to revoke that. If you want to speak out against the government, and I know the left is screaming, oh, First Amendment this and First Amendment that. I'm sorry. When you sign that dotted line, that clause is in there. You do not speak out. You do not have the same First Amendment rights that everybody else has. So it's not a First Amendment issue. They want to deport these people. Hey, look, some of those people, I don't think they should have their visas revoked. But once again, you don't come into somebody's house, start disrespecting them, and then try to go to court to stay in their house. No, if that person that owns that house, that resides there, wants you to leave, you leave. That's just how it is, folks. That is the reality of the situation. I don't care about the legality of it. Because the law can have loopholes, and it does have lots of loopholes. And a lot of those loopholes, they're not really loopholes, it's just how the law is. They are meant for situations like this. So the opposition can claim, oh, well, hang on, keep these people here. I think that's ridiculous, in my opinion. I really do. I think it's nuts. It's just knuck and futz, if you ask me. But I'm rambling at this point, trying to keep my videos a little bit short. So I want y'all to do me a favor and smash that like button for me. I really need y'all's help on that. Subscribe if you're new around here and you like what I got to say. That would be awesome. I cover news. I cover media manipulations, generally speaking. We read the news, but, you know, I just had to get these things off my chest sometimes, folks, and it is what it is. I got these video clips. I know people like to see clips. They don't necessarily like to see me read the news, so we'll do the video clips and the news, but we'll continue with status quo later on. But y'all do me that favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Sign up. Become a member. Help me out. Help me to push back against this narrative. Help me to spread the reality of the news, not the fake news that is put out by the corporate press. And I need y'all's help on that. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. It's the best way to help me out, folks. If you could share this video, because YouTube's not going to do it. So I need you guys' help on that to share these videos with everybody. Tell your friends, tell your family, do all that good blue gop stuff. Y'all make sure and have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.